Hello, 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 hello. Happy terrific Tuesday. Happy Testimony Tuesday. Come on in here because I have a testimony to tell, and I'm not going to be on here long. Actually, I'm going to set this timer right now for 15 minutes. 15 minutes to tell my testimony. For all the people that do not know me, my name is Vanessa Napper-Winfree. And for all the people that do know me, my name is Vanessa Napper-Winfree. And for all the people that think they know me, my name is Vanessa Napper-Winfree. And I have a testimony. This testimony that I have been wanting to tell it for a while, but I never got around to telling it. So today is the day, okay? And one thing, if you're looking for a perfect video, because I have recorded and deleted and recorded and deleted, and then I realized or just finally figured, look, this is not going to be a perfect video. So if you are looking for a perfect video, you might want to go ahead on and get off of this video right about now, because this is not going to be a perfect video. I do not use the correct English. Sometimes you're going to feel like I'm talking at the side of my mouth, and I may just use the language that my grandmother has taught me. And so, yeah. All right. So years ago, I used to have an aunt that lived with me. And the reason why she was living with me, because she was sickly. Okay. She had been sick. And so, and she did not need to live by herself. So she was living with me. Okay. I am a routine person. And so when she came to live with me, she became a routine person. We did things. We had a system that we were, that we followed, and that made it easy for she and I to live together, because I had been living by myself for a long time. And, it felt like overnight she was there with me. So, every now and then she would get sick and go into the hospital. And sometimes she would go into a rehab afterwards. But when she would come out, it would be back to business as usual. You know, we would get back into our routine and keep it moving. So this particular time, when she went into the hospital and she went into rehab afterwards, and when she came home, she was just moving a little slower than what I was used to. And so she wound up going into the bathroom, and she was in there for so long. I knocked on the door and said, "Hey, Aunt Jerry," because Aunt Jerry was her name. That's what I called her. Her name was Geraldine, but her nickname was Jerry. And so I used to call her Aunt Jerry. And so I says, "Aunt Jerry," I said, "Hey," I said, "is everything okay?" And she says, "No." She says, for whatever reason, she said, "I cannot get off the commode. I cannot get up." And so I went in, and I was in there, and I helped her get up and all that stuff like that. And so we, I helped her get into the dining room. We were sitting at the table, and we started talking. I was like, "Well, what do you think is going on?" And she said, "I just don't know." She said, "I just could not get up off the commode." And so I'm thinking to myself, "Now, Lord, what in the world is going on?" Because, she and I used to joke all the time, because she was living with me, but because she was there at the house a lot by herself. I mean, I would get up early in the morning and then come home late at night and stuff like that, because I worked all the time, and she was always there at home. We used to joke and say, I used to tell her I was living with her, because she was always the one at home. And so, so I was thinking to myself, I said, "If she can't get up and down off the commode, she cannot be here by herself." And I knew that I had to go to work the next day, and nobody was going to be there with her. And then other little stuff that she was, couldn't do like she had been, like she would fix her own food and stuff like that. She didn't ever have to do any major cooking or anything. But I would have stuff in the refrigerator, but it was like she couldn't hold stuff. And it was just like she was, careless, or weak. Okay. And so, I was thinking to myself, "Well, Lord, what is going on?" And so I wind up calling my sister-in-law and telling her, "Hey, look, Aunt Jerry went into the bathroom and blah, 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 blah." And so my sister-in-law said, "Look, it may be something real simple. It may be just a point of your commode is too low for her. Maybe you should get a attachment. She says, I have one. And she says, you can come up here and get that, try that. If that works, maybe you can just invest in a commode that would sit up higher or whatever. So I was like, okay, fine. So I told my Aunt Jerry, I said, hey, look, I'm going to run up to my sister-in-law's and get this attachment to go into the commode. Maybe that's going to help. That will be your problem. I mean, that'll correct your problem. And so I get in the car, and leaving out from my house is I'm on a private. My driveway is private, but it leads into the main highway, right, on 29. And so when I got to the end of my driveway, sitting there waiting to get into the traffic, the Holy Spirit told me, go see Jessie May. Now, Jessie May is a lady that I have known all my life, actually her whole family all my life. I mean, she's been in my life ever since I was little. Or I have known her ever since I was little. And so I says to the Spirit, go see Jessie May for what? And I just went on because I was, I'm like, go see Jessie May for, and I'm trying to get up to my sister-in-law to get this attachment for the commode. But I still was not, I had this, anxiety feel like, what is going on with my Aunt Jerry, and I'm hoping that this thing worked for the commode, and just a whole lot of stuff was going on in my head and how I was feeling. And then when I heard to go see Jessie May, I started in a fussing or just getting back kind of attitude, like, go see Jessie May for what? And I said, I don't even know where Jessie May live. And I did know kind of where she lived, but I didn't know exactly where she lived. Like, I didn't know exactly how to get to her house, but I had an idea. And I'm like, go see her for what? And, what am I going to tell her? And I said, if I go over there, I'm just going to tell her to come and pray for my Aunt Jerry. Come over there and pray for her. Now, listen, I know why things happen the way they happen now. Okay? Because sometimes God, He knows what you need. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this little part of why I feel like, I witnessed this other little thing to help me for what was getting ready to happen when the Spirit told me to go see Jessie May. Okay. So years ago, I was at church one Sunday, and this lady stood up to say that she had cancer, and that she was, her cancer was in remission, but that she had been going to her regular checkups. And at this one checkup, they told her, or one office visit, they told her that she had this mass, because this cancer that she had was breast cancer. And so, when she had gone to her regular checkup, they found this mass on her breast, and they wanted her to come in so they could do a biopsy to see exactly what the mass was. And so she was there at church that Sunday and asking for people she wanted prayer. She wanted to come to the altar and wanted everybody to pray for her that her cancer had not came back, and that everything was going to be fine. Okay. So look, I set my timer for 15 minutes, and so I got to hurry up. All right. So she wanted this prayer. Well, this lady, Jessie May, was at church that Sunday. Jessie May gets up, because this lady is standing up there at the altar. Actually, all of us was standing up at the altar. Jessie May gets up, got on her knees, put her hands around this girl's ankle, and told her, it was almost like she was praying, but also talking. And she told this girl that everything was going to be fine, for her not to worry, that God had this. She was going to be fine, that this was going to be nothing. And she told her a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's the main thing that I remember her telling her, that she was going to be fine, that it was nothing for her to worry about. Okay. So I witnessed that. So that was on that one Sunday. Well, that following Sunday was that churches, which was my church, the church that my home church, was our homecoming. And then that week would have been our revival. So that next Sunday, we go to church, homecoming, then it's revival. And that Friday night, that same girl that had stood up and asked for prayer was there at church that Friday night. And she got up to give her testimony to say that she had cancer. She was in remission, but when she had gone to one of her visits to check up on herself, they found this mass, and that she had gotten a biopsy by then, and she had got the results back, and that this mass that they had thought that they saw in her breast was nothing but scar tissue. And she was fine. That girl shouted that whole church. I mean, she tore that church up shouting and just thanking God, right? So I witnessed all of that, okay? And I feel like God needed me to see all of that to make me see that, or when that spirit told me to go see Jessie May. Now, when the spirit told me to go see Jessie May, I'm thinking to myself, go see Jessie May for what? What am I going to tell Jessie May? And I'm going to ask, and so in my head though, I thought about that day that she was at church and how she had laid hands on that girl and how she had prayed for her and told her, and she prophesied to her and told her that she was going to be fine, that for her not to worry about a thing. So I'm saying, well, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to just tell Jessie May to come over to my house and pray for my Aunt Jerry, right? But in my heart, I wanted Jessie May to come over and was hoping that when she come over there, that the same thing was going to be for my Aunt Jerry, that she was going to tell her that she was going to be fine and that everything was going to get back to normal. Because that's the thing. We never want any storms to happen in our lives. We always want to be comfortable and to keep things going the same way all the time. And when they do arise, we're so quick and ready to make things back normal again. But God. So I'm driving. I'm in the road now driving, and I needed to keep straight to go to my sister-in-law, but my car turns right and go straight on around this road where I believe Jessie May lived. And the next thing I know, I was in front of Jessie May's house, parked. I get out of the car, I go to the door and I knock on the door. And I could hear her. She says, "Come in." She didn't ask, who was it? No, nothing. She just says, "Come in." And so when I opened the door and stepped over into her house, that same Holy Spirit that met me at that end of that driveway said, "You are not here for prayer for your aunt. You're here for prayer for you." That's when I stepped over into her house, I heard that Holy Spirit tell me that. You're not here for Aunt Jerry. You're here for you. Prayer for you. Okay? And about that time, Jessie May was coming up the hallway in her house. And she looked at me and she says, "Oh, Michelle." And see, Michelle is my sister. And I was like, "No, I'm Vanessa." And she said, "Yes, you are." She said, "I don't know why I called you Michelle." She said, "But I know exactly who you are." And so immediately I started telling her about my Aunt Jerry and telling her that Aunt Jerry was sick and she was home and she not doing, like she had been. And I wanted her to come over there and pray for her. And she looks at me and she says, "Okay." She says, "But I'm going to pray on that." And she said, "If the Lord tells me to do that," she says, "I will." She said, "But you need prayer." She says, "Can I pray for you?" She prayed for me in that same manner that she did, not getting on her knees and putting her hands around my ankles, but she held my hands, and in the same manner as far as talking, where it was like a prayer, but also speaking of what was going on. And what she prayed was that my Aunt Jerry was fine, whether one way or the other. Whatever happened or was going to happen or whatever to my Aunt Jerry, she was fine. But I was the one who needed prayer because I needed to be strong for whatever was going to happen. I needed to be strong for Aunt Jerry to be able to take care of her. I needed to be strong so that, because, here I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm thinking, how am my Aunt Jerry going to be by herself? How am I going to be able to work and take care of her and all this and that? It was a lot. But she let me know that A jury was going to be fine, but I needed to be strong. I needed to get myself together to be able to handle the business that I needed to handle, for my Aunt Jerry. And that was it, And I get back in my car and I go, I don't even know how I got I don't even remember driving. I was on this cloud that it was just unbelievable. And so I get in the car and I go to my sister-in-law's. I don't even know how I got there. I don't even know how I got back home, whatever. But I needed to tell this testimony because this one thing, we are so quick to not believe in people, and God has placed people right around us that is there to help us. And because we don't believe and want to doubt all the time, we miss out on big blessings that are blessings. We miss out on them because of things or situations that we don't want to believe in, or we don't want to give someone credit. Let me tell you this. I thank God every day for Jessie Mae, and to think that this woman lived in our community all of my life, and that she's there now, and that I'm just so thankful and blessed by that, and that to know that we hear about people being a prophet, and we hear about people laying hands, but you hear about this, but it is not too many people that has witnessed this, and to know within their heart that, okay, I know somebody that able to do this. And I just want to give this testimony to say that Jessie Mae is the real deal. Okay. And I just thank God for her, that she lives in the community where I was born and raised, and she's still there. And that she was somebody that God put into my life that I was able to use, and she was able to help me. So that is my first testimony. I will be here again on next Tuesday at 9:00, giving you another testimony, and that, and hopefully, I can have other people on here that will give their testimony, that is bold enough to give their testimony. Okay. This is my first one. And just know it's going to get better. All right. So you all have a blessed day.